Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Curse of Strahd. How's it going? Stacks here. We're gonna start here shortly. Got some fun, familiar faces playing Curse of Strahd here with me. We are going to be picking up from the introductory episode where our heroes are going to encounter something weird. So, sit back, relax, and let's get started. Let's just... And I'm undeafened! Woohoo! We're live! Yay! We're alive! So, this is a podcast version of D&D, if that makes sense. So I'm going to be describing things a lot more for our viewers that are going to be listening in on the session after I convert it over. So look forward to that. And today we have some familiar faces. We got Phoenix, we got Queen, we got F&H Paul, we got Crosive. They're all up in the house. But they're going to be playing some pretty cool characters that will get introduced here shortly. Let's see. Okay. So, what is the Curse of Strahd? Let's start there, because if you're new to D&D and you have no idea what Strahd is, then you're probably like, what is this vampire person that you have on the screen? But yeah. So the Curse of Strahd takes place in a place called Barovia. The land of Barovia resides in its own demi-plane, isolated from all other planes, including the material plane. No spell, not even wish, allows one to escape from Strahd's domain. Astral projection, teleport, plane shift, and similar spells cast from the purpose of leaving Barovia simply fail. Something to take into consideration for our heroes in case they're trying to escape this gruely scene setup. Now, a little bit of foreshadow for all the players is wherever your characters are, wherever they have been prior to now, because they're about to get thrown into Barovia, they've been going about their days as normal, and suddenly in everyone's character's perspective, which I'll go into here shortly, there's this fog that has come into their domain. This fog kind of seeped into town, and it's not really reactive like normal fog is. I guess, well, normal fog isn't really reactive, but it doesn't look or respond like normal fog would. And people have noticed that individuals who go into this fog don't seemingly come out. We'll start off the top with Milo. He is a paladin who works under the hand of Lord Killian North. He is a man that works out of the Bastion's Keep era. And when this fog kind of came into their dominion, Lord North ordered a bunch of paladins, more or less, to go into this fog because, spoiler alert, one of his compatriots, one of his other ladies, Lady St. Cloud, has gone into this mist earlier, and she's done it fairly frequently. Kind of on a general note, she goes into the mist and she comes out of the mist. However, in this particular case, she's been missing for quite a number of days, and Lord North is more or less worried. So he sent some paladins in, and he hasn't heard from them either. So his next clue or guess would be to figure out things himself. He's going to assemble his own crew, and Milo is going to be one of these paladins that is coming with him into the mist. Meanwhile, Mezura is a cleric from the north. She was in a similar situation. She was out on a routine, just like a routine mission with her crew, and this mist came about, and half the crew went missing. Rather than traverse into the mist like the other members of the crew did, she retreated back. Her and a few others retreated back to the temple in her small village, and she was just praying. And while she was praying, she opened her eyes and stood from the altar, and she was surrounded in nothing but mist. So it had consumed her entire area. Consequently, we have Klugel, who is a Warforged artificer, actually. And this particular Warforged has a knack for trinkets. And he's made a lot of different trinket-type woodland creatures, except like a mechanical version of like a squirrel and little Tweety bird thingies. But he had made a bunch of these, and these constructs, these robotic versions of the animals had fluttered off into this mist. And he got a bit worried because his friends didn't come back home. Him and one of his trusted kind of like single creation companions, also a construct made out of the different metals and things, little bird thing that sits on his shoulder, kind of photoshopped all weird like. Basically, they went into the mist to try and find their other friends. And then finally, we have I'm gonna butcher this name. Zashida. Boof.
You got it.
Got it. Yes. Zashida's a bit different. While she was hunting in her druidic form, she was attacked by some type of creature that she could not see. And it caused her to revert back into her humanoid form. And as she lay there, bleeding out, with this gash against the side of her side, the mist just kind of like consumes inside of her. And all the people, whether it's Milo or Mezura or Klugel or Zashida, they vanish. And that's where we open up into the Curse of Strahd. So we'll start with Milo. Milo and Lord North, as well as a couple of other guards, have gone into this mist. And Lord North, he's worked with Milo. Is it Shatterstone? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's worked with Shatterstone multiple occasions, obviously. He's kind of like a trusted fellow. So him bringing Milo in with him is more of a desperate last kind of plea to try and find traces of Lady St. Cloud when they make their way into this mist. He is slightly familiar with her workings. She kind of goes into this mist and communicates with a person called Strahd von Zarovich. I'm gonna pronounce all these names incorrectly for like I'm pretty sure it's Zarovich. She communicates with him and does like various tasks that he has her do, but for the most part she kind of leaves it in secrecy. But again, she doesn't stay in the mist that long. She kind of comes and goes, but this particular instance, she's just been gone for way longer than she normally would be. As y'all are walking through the mist, you see lights kind of gathered in front of you, and as you kind of get closer, the mist sort of like draws back, and you can kind of see what these lights take the form of, and it's various caravans. It's just caravans and lanterns that kind of light their way, just like stationed off in front of you, about maybe 60 to 80 feet kind of in front of your vision. So Lord North gives the order for everyone just to like halt, just stop moving. So you all stop and you kind of examine this area that you've just come across, where before now, literally, if you took 10 steps back, you just saw mist. You didn't see anything. So coming across this caravan is a little bit surprising for you. So he tells you all to wait, and you can hear like laughter and people having kind of like a good time, mingles, those types of deal, children playing, those good fun sounds. But yes, Lord North looks to Milo, and he eyes up the well, he doesn't eye up the halfling for very long, and he's like, "We're going to need to survey the lands if you catch my drift, Milo."
Yes, I do, my lord. Leave it to me. I'll see what these caravans may or may not have, and we'll figure this out.
Sounds very good. So he kind of like stands off to the side. Him being a lord, he doesn't really do much. Like, he can do stuff, obviously, but he's not about getting his hands dirty if he doesn't have to. Meanwhile, over for Klugel, as Klugel is walking through this mist with only his trusted bird, he also comes across this caravan of sorts. However, from his perspective, he can't really see Lord North and Milo and the other crew, as well as they can't see him as well. But the thing that catches his attention is, as soon as he comes across this caravan, he sees all of his woodland creatures, except they're not like they were before. They're all rusted and battered, broken apart. There's pieces and cogs and other things, all just like assorted, variously put across in front of him, to show that these constructs just, they didn't make it. Like, something happened and they got destroyed. And as Klugel's putting, or like gathering all these different bits and pieces and bobs and doodads from his previous friends, Mazera comes up behind him as she too enters this mist, and she kind of like sees this Warforge picking up other, what to her would be just like nuts and bolts and other things.
Well, I'm very much in my work of seeing if I could put any of this back together, but obviously it being all rusted up,
Yeah,
no such luck. No such luck. I'm like, no, you had a soul.
Mazera decides to ask if he needs any help.
And I'm just like, no, don't touch my friends. I'm just like trying to stick pieces together, collecting all the pieces and putting them into my backpack and such. I will rebuild you stronger.
Sorry. I'll stop talking.
Are you certain you don't need any help?
I'm certain. Don't touch them. As I am quickly, now that she's moving closer, quickly putting the pieces in my backpack like I'll do this later. Gosh.
As he's doing that, one of the doors to the caravan opens up, and this very large turtle-like creature makes his way almost too elegantly for the size that he is. He's very like dexterous, if you know what I mean. But he opens up the door, and this youngish man carries out this woman, and like sets her down in this blanketed area in front of the caravan that is from it. And she has like bandages on her side that like show that she just recently was wounded, and that they have like kind of come together and healed her more or less. So he sets her down carefully, and he's like, "Hush now, young one. Come back to us. Come back to us." And he like touches her forehead, and this spark of energy like flows over Zashida's body. I can't say her name fluently. Oh gosh. So this spark of energy flows over Zashida's body, and her eyes pop open, and she wakes up as if she just came out of this like gruesome nightmare, like something was just about to kill her, and she just like screams out. And when she opens her eyes, nothing around her like seems familiar. This caravan doesn't seem familiar. The protruding mists, all of this is just foreign to her.
What is this place? Where am I?
You are with the Vistani, my dear. You were injured, and we brought you here so that we could heal your wounds.
And she kind of looks over to like where she was injured. She sees the bandages. She kind of calms down a little bit, but she's still a little bit on edge. Well, thank you, friend.
Let me find his name real quick so that you're not talking to a random old Joe. Let's see. Random. Is this the one, or is it the other one? Ah! Meanwhile, Milo's coming up with a plan to enter the mid. Where is this guy's name?
Did you not give a name to him?
No, he's the actual character in like the plot, to where I don't want to like just give him like a Bob Joe name.
Introduce myself as Bob, and later tell you you'll know my name at a later time.
Name is Bob Joe.
People call me Bob Joe.
Bob Joe from the Forbidden
Bob
Forest.
Joe Wilson.
Oh, we are starting off with a bang. Oh my gosh.
The best
yeah.
part is, no matter what his accurate name is, we're gonna mispronounce it all the time.
I think it's a name like that too, because I was reading, I was like, oh yeah, I'll remember that. No. It's not a thing. He looks at you, he's like, don't worry about names just now, my friend. We just want to make sure that you're okay. And are you fine? We found you injured outside of this fog.
Well, considering I'm not dead, I guess I'm fine.
It's always a good start. This is gonna
The
be
last
like
thing I remember was hunting for some food until I was attacked by something.
Did you happen to see what it is that attacked you?
She shakes her head.
Oh, I think I'm on it. So, he looks over. Yes! I have found it! Stanimir!
Stanimir!
Just stay.
Stan! Buddy,
Stan!
pal! I thought you were Bob. So Stanimir looks over at his daughter and he's like, Damia, go get your brother Ratka and tell him to bring some fresh bandages for our young friend here. And Stanimir looks over at you and he's like, do you remember your name, at least?
Yes, my name is Ashida.
Sashida, that's a very pretty and unique name. Well, Sashida, you are more than welcome to stay here and recover as long as you'd like. Although, I do not think you'll be able to leave.
And she kind of looks at him a bit puzzled. What do you mean by that?
This fog, he kind of like notes to the obvious elephant in the room. It has magical properties, and while we're able to traverse in and out of it, anyone who is inside of it, however, falls under the curse of the fog, and they're unable to leave.
So you have this entire caravan hasn't been able to leave this fog.
Well, we, the Vistani, that is us, traveling group, we are able to leave the fog. We actually leave the fog quite frequently to find do-gooders, adventurers such as yourself, to assist with a greater calling. However, not anyone that comes into this fog has the same wherewithal, if you will.
So even if I were to leave with you in this caravan, I wouldn't be able to leave, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
I see. Well, I suppose I shall stay for as long as I can, and at least help you in return of rescuing me.
That would be most agreeable. And as the two of you are talking and the children kind of bring back new cloths and set it down on the blanket area next to where Shashida is standing, the fog almost like plays like a trick and kind of like retreats back enough to where Milo, Mezura, and Klugel can all like see each other's area, as well as Lord North, and then obviously Zashida can see all of them as well. It's kind of like Milo might have been in the about to kind of like eavesdrop area, but the fog's just like, nah. Fuck your stealth.
More travelers.
Yes, it would seem our job is being done for us.
As I
It
kind of like,
seems.
and I kind of like, finish picking up the pieces, and I'm like, too many people, just do this later, and so I'm kind of like wondering, obviously, what happened to them, and so I'll go inquiry with a person who actually looks like he knows what he's doing, which I guess would be the person next to Zashida.
So you're gonna go talk to Stan the man.
Yeah.
Stanimir.
I'll be like, what happened here?
You are in the midst of Barovia. And basically, you and your other friends here are not going to be able to leave anytime soon, I'm afraid.
All right. And why is that?
The fog is considered enchanted. It prevents anyone from leaving, and if someone does try to leave, they more or less get lost in the fog forever.
So I'm stuck here forever,
Yes. Well,
away from my workshop.
for the time being, I can escort you and your other friends to Barovia, which is further into the fog. However, we know how to navigate it, and we also can get people there safely.
I mean, if it gets me closer to getting out of the fog, I suppose.
Indeed. Perhaps there's someone there who may know how to lift this fog. Although
Well-
my doubts are...
You can speak with
There.
Madame Eva once we get to Barovia, and she'll be
Madame
able
Eva?
to. Yes, she is one of our seers, actually. She does tarot card readings and kind of gives adventurers a guide of how to navigate through Barovia and hopefully escape, potentially.
And then I ask him, like, do you know what happened to these animals here? And I show him the pieces and bits and bobs.
Oh, my friend, it seems as if the fog did waste with them. This is kind of an example of creatures, no different than yourself, who navigate the fog for too long. It really does a wear on them.
So they've been here a while?
No, I imagine a couple of hours at most.
And I'm kind of like, disheartened to hear that they obviously did not live long. But I'm like, oh, thanks for the information, as I kind of like start messing with the bits and bobs again.
And
I'm sorry about the loss of your friends.
Yeah, thank you, as I'm tinkering away and not super paying attention now.
Okay, well, Milo's overheard all this by this point, correct?
yeah, I
Walking over
imagine.
So, all right, so long story. Okay, so I go back and report to the Lord then that that was a one-way walk.
What do you mean, a one-way walk? Lady St. Cloud comes in and out of this fog all the time. He's obviously spouting nonsense.
Well, my lord, I do invite you to try walking out the way we came, but the Vasanti? Is that what it was?
Visanti?
The Vistani.
Vistani.
Vistani. I'm thinking of the Vasani over there seemed like he was pretty adamant that only a handful of individuals, or select few, I guess what I would say, can actually navigate the fog and kind of come and go as they please. Many may be able to walk through the fog to enter here, but it seems getting out a bit trickier.
I see. Well, what are our other options?
Well, from where I'm standing, we either follow them and follow the caravan to the town and try to figure out where to go next, or wander this fog wasteland until either we find our way out or get brutally killed. Sir.
He kind of just like grumbles to himself.
Sir, I did say this is why you should have stayed in the castle and let us paladins handle this, for something similar to this situation happened.
Yes, well, while this is very perplexing and not exactly the ideal maneuver I wanted to make at the moment, we will see how this plays. Our mission still remains the same. We are to find Lady St. Cloud and question to see as to how to possibly get out of this fog. Cursed fog. And I swear if Strahd has anything to do with this, I will just And he kind of like saunters off.
Lord, let's handle one thing at a time. First thing is we need to figure out how to get out of here. Then if we can find Lady St. Cloud, if she do in fact still draw breath, we will cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yes, well. Fair enough. We shall communicate with these hooligans and figure out.
Sir, if I may be so bold, I don't suggest referring to them as hooligans or any sort of demeaning manner. Last I checked, we are in a place that is unfamiliar to us, and so your lordship may not exactly hold weight here. The last thing we want is to make adversaries out of potential allies. But then again, I'm just a halfling. What do I know?
I'm
I
perfectly.
then turn and start walking. I just turn and start walking like, I said my piece, I'm out. Like, you want to be an idiot? Be an idiot.
Like, check your fucking ego, sir.
You come
I don't
across.
say that, but-
You come across Mazera, who's kind of like standing there off to herself. Obviously, halflings, they kind of like gravitate to each other, so.
Says who?
Says the fact that she's the same height as him, so he doesn't have to
They all
look
know each other.
anymore.
Oh, yeah, you.
Why, hello there.
Hello.
Now, I'm sorry, I'm being a little bold here. My name is Milo. Did you enter this fog voluntarily, or did you happen to stumble your way here on accident?
I was in my temple with my fellow clerics when we were overtaken by the fog, and I've been wandering by myself ever since.
Well, then, I guess it would say that fate has drawn you this way.
It would seem fate has drawn many of us this way.
Yeah, I'm wondering which way these dice are gonna fall here, but it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm sorry I didn't catch your name.
My name is Mazera.
Mazer, much obliged.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
And as everyone's kind of more or less getting more acquainted with one another, Stanimar kind of like picks up the bundle of wrappings and things, and he hands it over to Zashida. And he's like, keep a hold of these. If your wound starts to act up, just apply another dressing, and you should be fine within a few days. Might I point out that bleeding here isn't necessarily a good thing? You may attract more dangers than you normally would otherwise. So just make sure you keep yourself completely covered. Make sure the wound isn't actively seething or anything of that nature, and you should fare well. We will try and get you to the village of Barovia, where you all can collect yourselves and hopefully find better direction. And he kind of like hands you the dressings.
I appreciate the word of caution, my friend.
Yes, yes. If you would like, I'll go talk to the other Vistani, and we will get this caravan moving, as long as you all are more or less ready to continue into this mist.
And she kind of like gives her like head a nod, like, yeah, go ahead and proceed.
And he walks
Like,
off.
I'm ready when you're ready, kind of deal.
And so he walks off, and his two kids, well, two of his kids, Damia and Ratka, are like, they're like giant-eyed looking at this Warforged. And Damia walks up to him, and she's like, "Excuse me, mister. What are you?"
It's like I'm the humanoid.
Well, you don't look like a humanoid. You look weird.
Do I?
Yeah.
Just like you, living being.
I've never seen anyone that looks like you. And then your face, and then your body, and then your body, and then your hands. It's all different.
I don't see many that look like you, to be honest. I'm gonna
Huh?
spend my time away from towns.
Oh, is that a bird?
Yeah, it's just a bird, and I kind of like it kind of flies off around a little bit, and then comes back to the shoulder.
Wow. That's really cool.
Yeah, I mean it's just like any other bird.
No, it's not. Birds are different. They have feathers.
He's got feathers. They're just more rigid than typical feathers. It's just like any other bird. He's got thinks like a bird, eats like a bird. He just likes to hang out with me.
You're silly. She kind of like saunters off back to her brother, who's just like still looking at the Warforged, but she kind of like drags him off.
And I just, go back to kind of tinkering, taking out the bits that are too rusted and like kind of tossing them to the side and keeping all the good bits. Like, well, I might not be able to rebuild all of you with this, but I'll figure this out. I'll mess with the bombs.
Also, what kind of bird is the mechanical one that's on your shoulder?
I really don't know. It's just, let's go with looks like a robin, except, silver.
Okay.
Silver robin.
So eventually, Stanimar comes back, and he's like, "My friends, we are ready to escort you into Barovia." And the turtle that you saw earlier kind of like opens the carriage that he carried Zashida out of, and he's like, "I can take 4, I think."
Mazura approaches and she gives a bow and she says, "I'm gracious for your help."
And he like bows, except it's like really slow. He's like, "Welcome to Pablo's caravan."
Sorry.
Alright, and guess Klugel will be up next to walk over and be like, I could definitely use a ride.
Sure, my friend. Hop on in.
And I hop on in.
And as the Warforged like gets into the caravan, it like shakes a bit more because he's obviously larger.
Much heavier than your average
Yeah,
person.
it's like it's like settling in.
Milo gestures back towards Lord North, like towards the caravan, like kind of offering it, like, "Are you gonna ride in the caravan?"
I'll take that one unaccompanied, if you will. And he like walks over to the one that Stanimar is like getting into.
Well, all right then. Milo walks up to the caravan. "Hello there."
Well, howdy, partner.
Milo just smiles up at him. he kind of like he just climbs in. He's just like, "Nope, not getting into it. Not gonna. Nope, don't engage. He's giving you a ride. Bite your tongue. Bite your tongue."
And then Pablo looks over to Zashida. He's like, "Ma'am, you coming?"
Just a moment. These wounds have gotten me a bit weakened.
Oh, take your time. We have all night.
So she slowly gets up, wincing in pain a bit as she makes her way to the carriage and gets in.
So he kind of like slowly closes the door and almost unrealistic. Like, you can't figure out how quickly it happens. The door closes and then the caravan's taken off. Like, it goes from 0 to 100 in like no time flat. And you all get jostled in your seats a bit and kind of like get thrusted forward, but the seats themselves are comfortable, like padded velveteen leather or whatever. There's like scents of like myrrh and other kind of like incense type lingerings. But the way that you were jostled, it almost feels as if you're no longer like on the ground. Like, the door closed and y'all are just like, boop, this pumpkin's leaving town, but it's taking the air route. Like, y'all are gone.
Are there windows on this?
Yes, but the fog is still like persistent. However, you can kind of like judge by how the fog is pacing back through the other side of the window that you're moving at a fairly decent speed.
Can I see if our wheels are actually on the ground, or can I not see that far down?
You can't really see that far down, due to like the placement of the windows. They're kind of just like at each side.
That's fine. And then it's just us four in here, right?
Yes.
All right.
So Gina's like, oh, this is a very interesting carriage ride. I don't think I've ever traveled in a carriage before. Not like this one, anyway.
I wonder how this thing works. Maybe I could use this. Kind of like tinkering and thinking to myself. Use like for my tinkering. It's always hard to make anatomically correct birds, but if there was another way for maybe some flying or some kind of levitation, and just pondering and mumbling to himself.
And Zashida kind of like smiles like a little bit, like bittersweetly a little bit, kind of like, okay.
Bezura notices Yoshida's injuries and comments about them. You seem quite injured. Are you in desperate need of healing?
Oh no, my friend. I'll be alright.
Are you certain I can offer a prayer of healing and try to help heal your wounds?
And Zashida kind of just like, moves her hands like back and forth like real quick, like no, it's fine, really. I'll be all right. But thank you. What is your name? My name's Zashida.
I am Mazura.
Pleasure. And you are, as she looks over to
the other short man.
Yeah.
The very small, a little small to be a paladin. Little short to be a paladin, ain't you?
Well, how are you? My name is Milo Shatterstones. Pleasure to meet your acquaintance.
Pleasure is mine. So it seems we're all been lost in this fog.
Yeah, mine was less lost, more searching. And it seems like the rest of you just kind of stumbled here accidentally. Unfortunately, well, the Lord who I serve currently was on the look for somebody who had entered the fog, so... Oh, I wish I had read the fine print on the contract now, though. Wasn't exactly
this
told
place
this would be a
seems very
one-way
puzzling.
trip.
I've never been in a forest such as this one. It screams suspicious to me.
It screams to... you're a druid.
And she kind of smiles softly with a nod.
I've known a few in my time. Well, I do hope that wherever we head to next won't be quite as chilling as that last section of the forest was.
Oh, I hope not. Once we arrive, I'm going to be in search of this Madame Eva to see if perhaps she will know of a way out of here.
Madam Eva. I'll have to remember that.
I pray we'll all be able to find answers and a way out.
Why not all of you join me? Perhaps we all can speak with Madame Eva together.
It does seem like it would be a wise decision.
Yeah, some tells me if we went in there individually, she might get a little annoyed the longer it goes on for her. And, answering the same questions over and over again.
And Zashida kind of chuckles a bit and kind of rubs the back of her head. To be fair, I guess I really didn't think of it that way. But perhaps you're right. More reason.
Yeah, it's kind of like asking the innkeep, is there a room all in a line instead of all at once? But, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name there, sir.
I gestured toward the large warforged.
Yeah, and you kind of see I'm kind of like using almost a screwdriver to etch the inside of my shield, but I'm not like scratching it or anything. But I'm like, it looks like I'm writing something. I'm like, yeah, I'm Klugel.
How did you find yourself here, Klugel?
Just followed my friends, and now they're kind of dead. So trying to figure out some new stuff, I guess.
You mean those robotic animals you were talking about earlier?
Yes, my friends. I make them, and they keep me company.
Again, I'm very sorry for your loss.
It's it's not great that they're dead, but at least they got to live, and I can make some more, I guess, new friends. I am kind of like downtrodden. I know my voice is terrible, but
your friends, they were creations like you, or like your bird.
They were more like the bird. And they're living like any other creature, like you and I.
And Zashida kind of tilts her head in confusion. Druid's just like, what?
So Milo with this kind of sticks his arm out a little bit and like extends out his hand, kind of like trying to do like a perch thing towards the bird. What kind of bird did you say it was? I'm sorry.
Like a robin, but obviously metal colored.
Mm-hmm. And then I extend my hand out.
And I kind of like give him a nudge, and he hops over to your hand.
I kind of pull my arm back a little bit and like lightly stroke the top of the head.
It's very well craftsmanship. Did you make this?
Zashida's kind of like looking at this bird too, like, is it really alive? If so, I've never seen an animal like this before.
And so anatomically, my person tries to get it correct. He's like, yes, of course, I built it, but the spark of life is much trickier. That's something I usually need my workshop for. But, the parts are mine. The soul is his.
Soul is his. What do you call a little fella?
Yeah, just call him Robin.
Well, that makes it hardly easy, doesn't it, Robin?
I kind of like jostle my hand a little bit to kind of like give it a little bit of a push lift off.
Yeah, he comes back to my shoulder.
Well, I guess you'd save a little bit of money on feeding them, don't you?
Yeah, that is the one good thing about us constructs is we don't eat as much as the other living creatures.
Now, hold on there. You say construct? I thought you warforged were living, breathing things. I didn't think you were just an animated suit of armor.
Living, yes. Breathing, no. For lack of a better word. Although my friend himself is more of a construct where, the certain healing doesn't work. He's more mechanically fixed. I myself, by normal means can be healed.
Alright. I was going to say, that might lead to some complications for you there, bub, but, now that you've cleared that up for me, I appreciate it.
He reaches into his like into his shield that he has kind of like still on his arm, which he is beginning to like strap to his back. He pulls out a small flask and opens it, takes a swig. To any of the two who can drink, like some?
No, thank you, but thank you for the offer.
I think I'll pass.
Fair enough.
And,
Take
and I
another
kind-
swig, close it up.
and I kind of give a quick quip while he says that. I'm like, I can drink. It doesn't do much for me.
Yeah, I was to say, it'd kind of be wasted on you then. He
Very
closes it back up and like tucks it back into the pocket inside the shield, and then slings the shield onto his back. The shield, which almost takes up his entire back, has just a skull arm, or not a skull arm. That's dumb. Skeleton arm holding a scale, like the old school scales. Sign of the patron. Just I don't know.
Yep.
As y'all are getting better acquainted with yourselves, out the corner of Zashida's eye, she can see kind of out the window, because how y'all are set, there's either a window at your right or a window at your left, depending. And then a person to your left or right, depending on which one the window's not. So, out of the corner of Zashida's eye, she sees this like blur of an image kind of like quickly go past the window and then vanish back into the fog. And for a split second, she was reminded of the thing that attacked her while she was in the forest earlier hunting.
And she's clearly very tense as she's looking out through this window. And Zashida then kind of like clears her throat. We best be on our guard.
Did you see something?
Not exactly. It was a blur almost. But it reminded me of the creature that attacked me earlier.
Klugel kind of stops with a screwdriver, kind of tucks it back into his belt pouch, and is more on guard now, as opposed to not paying attention.
Because if it's the same creature that attacked me, it was no joke.
And Mazura is now grateful she didn't take the drink because she can't hold her alcohol very well.
So I ask him, like, is it what kind of creature? We're talking like, wolf, tiger?
Unfortunately, I'm not too sure. I didn't get to see it. All I know is that it hit, and it hit hard.
Oh, goody. What's a little journey without a bit of danger?
At this time, oh sorry.
Yeah, I now just begin to. I now am just like scanning out the window as best I can.
Can everyone make a dexterity saving throw?
Well, hello there. Saving
hello
throw.
there.
16.
Natural 1!
Oh
It's a 2 total, but I don't think that helps.
That's a 3 for me.
1, so it's a 16.
16. What's yours, Paul?
A 3.
Oof.
Better than me.
You're not
So-
great. You're not great.
Out of nowhere, y'all hit like, I don't know, a tuff of turbulence or something. And everyone's kind of jostled in their seat, some a little bit more ferociously than others. So everyone kind of like bounces out of their seat. Mazura and Zashida are able to like steady themselves, I guess, because they already were tense. So this just kind of like made them brace themselves even further. But Milo, his head ends up hitting the top of the roofing to the caravan, and then Klugel's head just goes like straight through it because it's like.
Zashina's just like, are you all right?
And he's kind of like stuck, like he can see out. He's like facing away from the direction that they're going, so he just sees like mist and everything ahead of or behind them, like where they're leaving. And like it's starting to rain, and it's not a good day. Like he's trying to get out of this like discomfort he's in. Like his head's like pretty stuck in there.
Can Zashida try to pull him out?
You can make a athletics check.
17.
Sweet. So with a bit of maneuvering, and before his head like comes in, you hear Pablo like, "Oh, sorry, my bee." So Sashita's able to like muster up enough strength and like tug as hard as she can with the assistance of like Klugels, who's like pushing against the top of the roofing to like pull his head through, and like eventually like poof, he like slams back down into his seat.
Are you all right?
Oh, yeah, quite fine. You could say I'm made for this. Is rain coming down through the hole, though?
Yeah, it's starting to come into y'all's, well, more your present area.
So I'm gonna basically start to just try to temporarily patch the hole, pull out some like plates and stuff that I had from the beat up parts, and just like pull out my smith tools and just like temporary patch just so I don't get rained on the whole time.
Okay, make a, let's see, survival check probably.
All right. Do I get my smith tool bonus or no?
Yeah, you could do it with advantage.
So, well, the smith tool gives me +5. That's all
Oh!
I asked.
Well, yeah.
All right then. Boop. Okay, 13 total.
Sweet. So yeah, you're able to patch this thing up pretty quickly. Almost like surprisingly quick considering like your head just went through it. But yeah, it's patched up.
All right. So, like, yeah, thanks for helping me out of there, and then just tink.
Because of that turbulence, like you can kind of feel that you're descending. So eventually the caravan like comes to a stop, more or less. You land fairly softly. The caravan's wheels are on the ground now, and almost as soon as, kind of like in key with everything else, as soon as the caravan like stops, the door's opening and Pablo's there, and he's like, hopefully I get a good review.
And despite Klugel going through the roof, Zashida kind of reassures Pablo by patting his shoulder. You did well, my friend. Thank you.
And this turtle with like a patch over his eye is like helping the ladies out as they're coming out of the caravan. He's like, thank you. First week on the job.
And Mazura takes his hand and she thanks him, and she just says, I'm sure you did your very best. I appreciate your help.
Meanwhile, like Klugel's like sauntering out.
Still better than walking.
Yeah, Milo just hops out. He just kind of rubs the back of his head. And then just keeps walking.
Oh! Almost forgot. And he like reaches in his pack and he like pulls out this like kind of like carefully wrapped parchment, and he hands it off to just the closest one that'll grab it. The map of Barovia. You'll need it.
Thank you. Mazura takes it.
So in roll 20, under handouts, you should see a thing called the Barovia map, and I'll blow it up. Currently, you all are at the village of Barovia, so E.
Yep.
And then this map seems to be slightly enchanted because as you're like looking at it and obviously like trying to like judge your pacings, it pops open to the well, let me make sure y'all have access to it first before I say it. Y'all should have access to Village of Barovia map now.
Yep.
Okay. So where y'all landed is more or less the what is it?
South side.
Southwest area.
Near the compass.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, about there.
Okay.
Fair enough.
And I just looked at Lord North's picture. He damn fine.
Well, he's a lord. He's supposed to be. It's part of the Lord and Ladies Club. You ain't fine. You ain't no lord or lady. Sorry. Speaking of, Lord North kind of like makes his way out of his caravan. He kind of like pats himself down. Not really keen on the fact that it's raining. Well, shall we be off then? And he kind of like walks towards the village.
And Mazura's trying not to blush.
And Ashita kind of sees her and she goes, "Are you well, my friend?
I'm alright.
Are you sure? Your face is all red. Do you have a fever?"
I'm fine. No fever.
And she kind of looks at her puzzled, but then kind of just shrugs it off and leaves her be.
Milo sees this and just kind of chuckles to himself and shakes his head. He knows. He's seen this enough times.
The smitten look.
That baby girl, what's your name?
You need a drink, or you all right?
I'm alright.
So Caligula is kind of visibly confused because he doesn't really understand, like, doesn't interact much with humans. He doesn't really understand what's going on. It's just like, is there something wrong with her?
She's fine. Just you know how it is, that long trips and the jostling and turbulence. New areas.
Yes, of course. It's just got it.
By the way,
Doesn't understand it. Not asking more questions.
By the way, Milo, is your head alright?
Yeah, it's more of an annoying pain than anything. Not really any. Kind of more like a dumb thing for not being ready to catch myself, rather than actual physical pain. Kind of like when you stub your toe.
Oh.
More mad at yourself than actually hurt.
So
But I appreciate the concern.
Well, if you're ever in need of healing, that's what I'm here for.
I know a spell or two myself, but I'll leave it up to your more than capable hands.
So all the while y'all are like walking, following Stanimir and other Vistanti towards what murmurs have been called the Blood of the Wine Tavern. So they're going to the local tavern in Barkovia in hopes that Madame Eva will be there. So the fog is like persistently present for some reason, and it's raining, obviously. But as you're walking into the town, it kind of like eases back and shows the town for like its better worth. So it kind of like recedes a bit, so you can see more of the buildings and the structures and things of that nature. However, there's like this placid like lighting over everything to where you can't really determine if it's daytime or nighttime just by the fact that like the lights aren't playing as they ought to be.
I'm following the main guy who was kind of like leading us to Lady. I blank on her name now.
Oh, Madam Eva.
Madam Eva. Yeah.
So eventually, yeah, y'all make your ways to the Blood of the Vine Tavern. Sorry, and it's there's a single shaft of light that thrusts illumination into the main square of the area. Its brightness looks like a solid pillar in the heavy fog. Above the gaping doorway, a sign hangs precautiously askew, proclaiming this is to be the Blood of the Vine Tavern. And Stan, I'll just call him Stan, walks in, and he's like, friends, come get yourself dry, and I'll see if I can find Madame Eva for you. And he kind of like walks into the tavern.
I step in and then begin to look around the tavern, like kind of getting the lay of the land as far as like who's in there, general size, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Bezra enters the tavern and she's just holding onto her amulet and praying to her deity to keep her away from the alcohol.
Kushida follows, right after Mizura entering the tavern, and she kind of takes a seat at one of the tables to kind of like rest herself because the injury on her side is still bothering her.
For Klugel, before he like enters in, he like takes a closer look at the sign itself, and noted you can tell what it's supposed to say like from afar, but on closer inspection, he can see that in the Blood of the Vine, where it says it, someone in the word of has carved an N over the F, so it reads more like blood on the vine. But he doesn't really make note of it or like anything out of it other than someone's just like vandalizing sign property before entering the tavern. Get some tavern songs going. There we go. So it's pretty busy. There's not a lot of like what you would call locals. It's more or less just the Vistani kind of like gathering into the tavern.
Yeah, real quick. How many paladins were with me? Is it just me and the Lord, or is there like a few others?
We'll say there was 2 others that were with you the second go. So 3 paladins and then the Lord.
And then are we all roughly about the same thing? Like we're all the same, like I guess like standing, or is it just like?
Oh, like ranking and stuff? Yeah, more or less.
Yeah. Okay, so there's not like a leader of the group.
Well, I would say it would probably be more you because you've worked with the lords and ladies of that area for a longer period of time. And then the 2 guys that you have are kind of like new 3 levels, kind of new on the job.
Okay. I signal to Jeb instead to stay near the...
Jeb instead.
Yes, Jeb instead. Jeb Firebrand and Steadfast.
Oh my goodness.
Steadfast, yes. It's a family name. Look, we all give him a hard time about it, but Steadfast, you know, he's a man of his word, so they're both gonna just kind of steer near the Lord.
Okay.
just I like almost on his hip, just in case. Like, I'm the one kind of like walking around doing a bit more like looking, and they're just more there to make sure like nothing crazy happens.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What are the others doing? As you enter.
Klugel kind of finds a table. I don't want to say all to himself, but like a table big enough for him to tinker on, but with the least amount of chairs.
Okay.
That way he can kind of pull out his pieces and start like tinkering and thinking about like, were we flying there? Were we not? How are we doing this? And like, putting pieces together. Nothing much, just tinkering and thinking.
Okay.
Mazura is just going to take a seat with the Sheeta.
Okay.
Quite lively tonight, isn't it?
It seems so.
I must admit, it's been quite a time since I've been in a tavern like this.
I try to avoid taverns because alcohol's gotten me into trouble in the past before I became a cleric.
Ah, I see.
And yet, it's also my weakness.
Noted. Don't give you alcohol then, as she says as she kind of chuckles.
And one of the local barmaids comes up, and you can immediately tell something's off with her presence as opposed to any of the Vistanti that you've met tonight. The locals seem to be a little bit muted. Like, they don't wear bright colors, anything that really sets them apart. Even their dress per se is kind of like bland and muted in the midst of everything else, to where if you didn't notice that she just walked up to your table, she could just literally take 2 steps away and like fall into the background unnoticed by anybody else. She comes up to you and she doesn't really look you in the eye. She's kind of looking down. Would you like anything to drink?
Just some water would be fine.
I'll take a water as well, please.
Very well. And then she walks away to hopefully go get you 2 waters.
And, Zashida, like, feels something's a little off, but she kind of keeps it to herself, thinking that maybe it was just her.
Something seemed odd about that woman.
Zashida brows raises. Ah, so you sensed it too.
Yes, something seemed different about her.
While that happening, the 2 of you can make a perception check. Whoever I guess is better can do it with advantage.
22.
As you're helping. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. So on that note, you're able to like just take a general survey of the area, and aside from the Vistani, which you've already encountered, you're trying to pick out all the different locals within the tavern, and they all have that kind of like similar bland, very basic kind of appearance of themselves, but on closer examination, their mannerisms aren't very elaborate. There's a man that's sitting at a table by himself, and every couple of seconds he'll pick up his beer and take like a small swig and set it back down. And then a couple of seconds will happen and he'll pick up his beer, take a swig, and set it back down. And they almost seem like methodical and robotic in the way that it's almost too eerily similar to the same maneuvers that they just made. Even looking over to the bar, the bartender is like cleaning glasses and he's just going down a line. And when he finishes, he starts back from the same clean glasses that he just cleaned. And it's kind of like this repetitive pattern that you can kind of pick out on all the commoners that are within the tavern currently.
Is there like a dangerous feel to this, or is it just?
No, it just feels weird, like kind of eerie. Like they don't seem to have any kind of malice or danger about themselves, but normal people don't respond in this kind of way. That's so robotic and structured that I can only do this type deal.
And Zashida is like, she's kind of uncomfortable. And she kind of like taps Mizira's shoulder.
Yes?
Something definitely seems off about this place.
I've noticed it does feel kind of off. Something seems strange about some of the people, too. Like they're following a set pattern just over and over again.
Do you think maybe we should bring this up to the others?
Maybe when we get together again. I wonder if it has anything to do with the fog.
Perhaps.
And sorry. I'll stop talking.
Speaking of, where is everybody else?
And you can kind of see that Klugel's tinkering as he said he was, and Milo's just kind of like surveying the area. You can kind of see like this tuft of red hair just like scouring the grounds.
So Milo does a lap, around the bar, just kind of getting a lay of it, like figuring out, just kind of seeing like general areas, like, you know, entrances, general amount of people, just kind of that sort of thing, and then proceeds to kind of head back to the table with the heads to the table that they're sitting at.
And Sashida kind of like motions him over.
He pulls up a stool, sits down.
What's going
Milo,
on? Yeah.
I see that you did a survey of the tavern.
Mm-hmm.
Have you noticed anything?
Do I notice anything, or do I simply notice kind of what they noticed?
Yeah,
Because I mean, she rolled pretty high, so I don't imagine
you pretty much noticed the same thing that they did.
Seems, I don't know, maybe I'm in my own head about it, but seems like things are a little, I don't know, rehearsed, if you will.
You're not the only one who thinks so.
Yeah, it feels like those 3 guys at the corner of the bar there by the stairs. They all rhythmically drink, one after the other, almost in a sort of sequential, like 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of pattern. Well, it's not quite how normal people would drink.
You guys look over there, and sure enough, there's 3 guys, and it's literally just like 1, 2, 3, and then they all stop, and then waterfall, stop, waterfall, stop.
And Sashida kind of gets up. I'm going to try something. And she walks over to the gentleman at the table. Excuse me.
As she gets up, I just kind of like, my hand starts kind of like, I drum my fingers along the hammer hilt, just waiting.
Oh, yeah.
Greetings, gentlemen. How are you tonight?
You're not from around here, are you?
No, I am not.
You can tell. You and your friends are a bit different.
And Zashida kind of chuckles. Different how, if you don't mind me asking?
You kind of stand out. If you catch my drift.
So she kind of looks at her outfit, you know, she's got like, you know, like bright feathers, you know, on her outfit and stuff like that, and she chuckles. I assume you mean the colors.
Yes, the colors.
Is it always this lively here?
This is the way it always has been.
I see. Well, as you know, we are not from around here. You think you could tell us a bit about the area?
What would you like to know in specific?
Oh, anything you can tell me, really. I'm quite intrigued by the, well, layout of the area. I've never seen a forest quite like this before. And
Forest?
perhaps... Well, yes, we just came from a forest shrouded in mist. Well, fog, I guess.
I never leave the town. I wouldn't know about these things.
I see. Is there a reason why you don't leave town?
I never leave town.
And Zashida kind of looks at him a little puzzled, but kind of leaves it alone. Do any of you know a lady by the name of Lady Ava?
Yes, she comes here from time to time.
You perhaps know where she resides?
He kind of like carefully just like monotone, just as slow as he can survey the room. Over there, where that candle's lit.
And Zashida kind of follows his gaze to see where he's looking.
And note it, most of the tables don't really have candles, and if they do, they're not lit. But at this particular candle, or this table kind of across the room, there's an old woman who's just kind of like sitting there, shuffling like a deck of cards.
And Zashida nods and she goes, well, thank you kindly. Please excuse me. Have a wonderful evening. And she kind of walks back over to where Mizura and Milo are.
And you can kind
Madame
of
Eva.
you can kind of almost slyly hear him say, "I hope you survive," as you walk away.
Yep, so she goes back over to the others.
Everything's fine.
She's like, well, I think I found Madame Eva.
Well, that's good.
Although there's something that does trouble me.
And that would be what exactly?
Well, I asked those gentlemen if they knew where Madame Eva was. He did tell me. I thanked them, and as I was walking away, I couldn't help but hear him mutter under his breath, "Hope you survive."
That's rather ominous.
Oh, this night just gets better and better. Well,
How many people are in this tavern, by the way?
So the Festani was more or less a group of maybe 20 people. And the locals are pushing like 10. And that's counting like the barmaid and the bartender and people
So,
that like.
so we're ballparking 30 to 40 people in this tavern, counting our group as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
well,
I kind of like glance around.
You don't look too hostile, so maybe this Madam Eve will shed some light on things for us.
Perhaps. I was planning on going to go talk to her if you would like to accompany me.
Oh, why not? Nothing's as intimidating as a halfling in chainmail, so let's go take a look-see.
Mezura?
I'll go with you.
And Zashida kind of looks over to Mr. Nuts and Bolts.
Yeah, I'm kind of, finishing up my tinkering. I got like a little light on the end of my screwdriver that I'm like looking at stuff, but mostly everything's away. There's only so much I can do with the parts I have. So I'm starting to pay attention a little bit.
I just do a little whistle.
And I generally understand that and kind of, get up as you guys get up and follow.
I literally have my hand out for the robin.
Like, you may not, hopefully him and the Robin can talk.
Yeah, so I get up to follow them.
And Zashida leads the party. And they walk over to Madame Eva, and Zashida kind of takes a seat in front of Madame. Excuse me.
Yes, my dear.
Are you perhaps Madame Eva?
That's what they call me.
It's a pleasure to meet your acquaintance. My name is Zashida. I'm traveling with a group of travelers. We, unfortunately, got caught up in this heavy fog. We were informed that it might be cursed, and that those who enter the fog can't leave it. We were hoping that perhaps you might know how to get out of this fog.
And as you say that, she kind of like stops shuffling and sets her cards down and then splits them into two different sections. Perhaps I can help. Please, have a seat, all of you.
And Zashida kind of looks over to the group with a warm smile, saying everything, everything's okay.
And Mezura takes a seat cautiously.
Milo sits down with an air of confidence.
Klugel sits like a normal person, I suppose.
One sits hesitantly. One sits with swagger. The other, sit.
Sit, Klugel.
I do not understand social norms. I will sit in the chair.
What is this chair? No.
Is the chair alive? Does it have a soul?
Can I give it a soul?
I don't know why that's the voice of your character now in my head, but now it is.
Whatever works for you. I can't do voices.
You just need to try.
Did Zashida sit as well?
She was already sitting before she talked with the madam, so.
Okay, so as you all are sitting there, Madame Eva like waves her hand, and the tavern and area that you are in kind of like shifts and changes around you, and suddenly you're inside of what is considered Madame Eva's tent. There's trinkets and doodads all around. Everybody else within that tavern-y setting is just kind of like pushed out of the area, and you're literally just like in this small tent, all sitting around this table looking at
So
Madame Eva.
like to us, we kind of like teleported there.
Kinda, but in form of like magic, you would think it would be more like a glamour-esque state. Like she's casting Leomort's tiny hut or something of that equivalence, kind of like on that level, where like you're shielded off from the outside area.
Okay, so technically we're still in the
Still
tavern?
in a tavern, but like it doesn't.
And
look
do
like
our
it.
characters know that?
You can make perception checks to see if anything feels off, or if you can kind of like deduce that this is magic.
Another 22.
One.
What?
God.
Freaking Klugel
13.
thinks they just got teleported across the tents of Vestadia. Like,
We're free.
but yeah, anybody
a
over a 10 can kind of figure out that this is like magic at play.
All right.
And she looks to each of you, and you kind of see that one of her eyes has like a gloss over it. Not that she's like blind out of it, but like if you look too close, there might be something else there. And she looks to each of you, and she's like, Zashida. And then she looks over to the next, Mezra. And then the next, Milo. And then finally, Klugel. Note it, none of you besides Zashida have given your names at this point. Would you like me to give you a card reading?
Well, it'd help us get out of the fog.
Potentially, it might. It depends on how you use the cards.
Right.
And Zashida gives a smile. Sure.
Is this agreed upon, everyone?
Mizura just nods.
Yep. I'm just. Yep.
Milo studies her face for a long time.
And as you're like looking at her and like looking at her eye more, you can kind of like see something like flint or flicker past like the white shine in her eye. Like there's something there, but you can't really see it. She like looks over to you. And you?
Well, I do love a good game of chance, so why not? Deal them out there, darling.
Very well. And she begins to like
I'm
slowly
gonna die so hard.
place
I'm gonna die so hard.
one card down until there's 5 cards in front of her. And y'all can see the... I hope there's no penises on this.
No.
I was like, I haven't turned to this page.
Hold on.
But she
let me add
sets...
one real quick.
No! She set the... just so everybody can see, she set the cards down in those numbers, and I'm gonna switch back because I don't trust y'all fools.
Okay, first off, we're live. I'm not gonna be that big a jerk.
You missed
How
the Waterdeep
dare.
episode when everybody had their penises out, so...
No. Apparently we got our dicks out before we started
Yeah,
streaming.
before the stream, we got our dicks
All right,
out.
now you see, that's the thing. If it's before stream, that's on you. During stream, that's on them. They're jerks. I'm
Well,
not
yeah.
there,
Yeah,
therefore.
I'm just
You
saying.
can't blame me.
I'm just saying. I'm
Like,
making
I'll
sure.
shaggy that shit
Because
right
I didn't
now.
check it before stream to see if there were to like clear them out. So, you know, preemptive dick checking. Anyways, she sets the cards down. And let me pull this up so I don't freak it out. She pulls up the first one and she holds it out and she sets it in front of Milo. And she's like, this is the 3 of Swords. It symbolizes the soldier. And as she's talking, this like minor illusion-esque image of Milo in all his splendor is kind of like standing there. It's telling me that you need to go to the mountains, climb the White Tower, guarded by golden knights. And as she says that, the card like poofs and like the image of Milo like sets into the card. So as he holds it up, there's an image of him in his like soldier-esque gear holding his, is it a mace?
Hammer.
Hammer.
Literally a war.
Warhammer and shield. And it just like, the color from it fades and just like it's a regular card now.
Okay.
And she picks up the next card and she looks at Mesera. This is the Two of Glyphs. And it stands for the missionary. And she again sets the card in front of Mesera, and another image of Mesera praying in what would be like a temple setting is there. And she says, I see a garden dusted with snow, watched over by a scarecrow with a sackcloth grin. Look not to the garden, but to the guardian. And as she says that, the image of Mesera vanishes and sets into the card. And she places it in front of her. Moving on, she picks up the next card and kind of eyingly looks over at Klugel. This, my friend, is the Master of Stars. It stands for the Wizard. I need you to look for a wizard's tower on a lake. Let the wizard's name and servant guide you to that which you seek. And she places the card by you. And similarly, you see like an image of Klugel kind of like tinkering with different things. And like as she finishes, it also dissipates and sets into the card. And she puts it by him. Finally, well, there's still 2 cards left, but finally she looks over to Zashida. This, my dear, is the Queen of Spades. It stands for the Mists. A Vistani wanderer, or a Vistani wanders this land, my dear, searching for her mentor. She does not stay in one place for long. Seek her out at Saint Markovia's Abbey, near the Mists. And she sets the card down in front of Zashida, and similarly, an image of Zashida kind of like wisps away and sets into the card. And finally, she holds up the last card. This is the Jack of Hearts. It stands for the Marionette. It stands for Strahd. Strahd von Zarovich. Let me replay that music. Look to great heights. Find the beating heart of the castle. He waits nearby. And as she says that, she sets the final card just like in the middle of all of you. And they all kind of like glimmer away. Now, you'll notice these cards will be on your person in case you forget. But use these clues to take down the Devil Lord. Because if you do not, he will surely return the favor. Strahd is not your friend. He is not your ally. You may encounter him in many other places other than what I have described. But do not challenge him there. Do not provoke him. For it will surely be your death. And only after you find the meaning of these cards will it all start to make sense. And then you may all have a fighting chance. The key word is may. Many adventurers have come to Barovia, my friends. None have left. None survive. Your tale may be no different than all the rest, but that is up to you and the decisions that you would like to make. And as she says that, the glimmer from the tent kind of like fades away into the background, and like the people and everybody in the tavern start to reappear, and no one kind of like makes anything of it. Doesn't even seem like y'all have been gone for any period of time.
And Ashita kind of, clears her throat. Well, thank you, madam.
It's my pleasure.
I wish you well. And Ashita kind of looks to the group like, all right, well.
Yeah. It's kind of it. I'm like, that was something. That was something.
Yeah, Kluga kind of pulled out one of his tools, and like you saw him kind of tap the back of his shield, and there's like some writing that appears on it. Basically, I wrote down what I heard, even though she already gave us the notes.
Okay. And I have them like copied down so that I can either create cards and put them in your inventory, or just like whatever. Just so you have them.
I wrote them down anyways. But yeah, okay. So I took notes, and then she's like, "I'll leave them with you." I'm like, nice.
Fair enough. I get up from the table and kind of walk back to the table we were sitting at prior to.
I joined them at their table this time.
Okay.
Yep. That is Shishida.
I pull out my flask.
So it seems this Strahd might be the key to getting us out of this fog.
Yeah, it really seems that way, doesn't it?
Sounded like she meant to say the key was to kill him.
Yep, I heard that part too.
And I'm like, let me see that map really quick. Kind of like looking, because obviously she brought up a lake, so I'm starting to like kind of mark down where all the lakes are on the map and whatnot, and like there's here, and kind of contemplating what my step in the process is.
Yeah, this doesn't. I'm not entirely sure where to even start on this.
Milo, can I have you make a perception check?
Oh, why not? 17?
Sweet, that's high enough. So you've noticed, mostly because these are your people, that since y'all have come back from Madame Eva's hut or whatever, you can't really pinpoint the Lord North or the two paladins that were supposed to be watching him.
They're just not there. I just don't see.
Yeah,
them.
they're just not there. And like that panic kind of sits in where you're like, okay, I didn't see them over there, where they were the last time. So I'm like scanning. Like after you scan like this whole tavern, like you don't see them.
Shitty. I flagged down the barmaid.
And she like walks over. There's already 2 glasses of water at the table, by the way. And she walks over. Yes, sir.
Hi. I hate to be a bother, but do you happen to see the other 2 men dressed such as myself, the other paladins, and the man they were walking with? Did you happen to see where they took off to?
They are no longer here, I'm afraid.
What does that mean, ma'am?
That they are no longer here, I'm afraid.
His jaw locks as he just stares at her.
Yeah, I heard that the first time you said it. What I'm asking you is, what does that mean?
He begins gripping the hilt of his hammer, like white knuckled.
She kind of just like stares at you, more or less perplexed of like what you want from her, but she doesn't say anything. She just like holds the tray to her side and just
Did
like
they
looks at
walk
you.
out the front? Did they leave? Did they get a room and stay upstairs? What do you mean by they're no longer here? They're no longer.
And I'm assuming Milo's getting a little bit pissy.
More like trying to get an intimidation check here.
And Zashida kind of like puts her hand out in front of Milo, like, "Hey, wait, calm down." I'm sure they haven't gotten far wherever they went. Perhaps they went out towards the caravan.
Whatever your strongest, actually, whatever your strongest liquor is, bottle to the table.
And then I'm outside.
And she like walks off.
Do I see anything outside that would direct me, like where if they had walked out this side or not?
Not off the cuff.
I'll also follow him outside as he's going. Just
What about the guy who led us here? Do I see like the turtle? Do I see anybody?
The turtle, no, he stayed with the caravans. The Stan, the man, he is at the bar, just kind of like drinking his drink, not robotically
So
like everybody else.
I guess while Milo and hold on, Boogle go out front, Nishida is gonna head over to the bar and speak with Stanimir.
Okay.
Hello, friend.
Are you holding up well?
I'm feeling a bit better, thank you. I was quite curious. Milo's travel companions. Did you see them leave?
His travel companions?
Yes, I do believe he was traveling with a lord. Along with a few other paladins?
I don't remember seeing any lords tonight, I'm afraid. And the only paladin that I've come across is Milo.
Just for my own sanity, the Lord did jump into his caravan, right?
From your perspective, what you saw, yeah. Like, you saw him walk that way. Like, you didn't see him get into the caravan and everything, but...
Okay.
Good. Are we pulling another little wheel? Where you're the only one?
No, it's just more of like, I'm making sure, like, okay, well, I know he was there because I also know they were at the tavern when we arrived. Because I had made sure that the two other paladins were there. Jeb instead. Just in case you forgot their names.
Jeb instead's dead.
More than likely, they never really existed in the first place.
Yeah.
Right, but
Milo's been drinking too much of the goof juice.
She only want me for my goof juice.
So Zashida kind of tilts her head a bit puzzled. Did you see anyone leave the tavern?
No, not since we've all arrived.
And she kind of pats his shoulder. Thank you.
Is everything all right?
I'm not quite sure.
And he kind of
But
like,
I'll figure it out.
he nods a little, kind of like turns back in his seat to go back to his drink.
And Zashida kind of, she goes back to Mizura.
Did you find anything out?
All I know is that no one seemed to have left the tavern since we've been here.
So they just vanished?
I don't know.
We should go find Klugel and Milo.
Lead on then.
On that, as soon as she says that, like, Milo starts making his way back in after not finding anything outside, like tracks or anything like that.
Yep, I'm following.
Okay.
Did you two find anything?
Unfortunately not. Seems if they did head out that way, there's no tracks for me to follow, and, well, I'm not seeing any sign that they would have left.
I find this rather puzzling then.
It's quite muddy out. You'd think we'd be able to find some footprints quite easily.
Stanimir told me that he didn't see anyone leave the tavern since we've been here.
Where'd they go? I mean, they were here. Well, I know they were in the tavern, so where the hell would they have taken off to?
I don't know. The only thing I can think of is speak to the barkeep and see if they've rented a room.
Yeah, you're right. I'm just,
And Zashida kind of like pats his shoulder in comfort. We'll find them, don't worry.
Yeah, that lord is not exactly what most would classify as a people person, so the sooner we find him, the better.
I'll go see if they went to go rent a room. I shall return. And she gets up and heads over to the bar and tries to flag down the barkeep.
He stops his glass cleaning and he looks up at you.
I was wondering if anyone asked to rent a room here.
Tonight?
Nods.
Not at present, madam.
I see. Thank you. And she kind of lets him go back to whatever he was going to be doing and goes back over
like,
to tell the
not
others.
skipping a beat, he goes back to cleaning the glasses.
Such dedication.
These glasses are clean!
Cleanest glasses in all the land.
Gotta love it.
Milo.
Yes.
Unfortunately, no one seems to have rented a room here.
Alright. I'm sure there's a perfectly reasonable explanation to why a lord and two paladins just disappeared out of sight, out of mind, while we're in a fog that we can't escape, after getting tarot card readings from a mystic who almost looked like she swept us away to a different plane of existence.
Can I all have you make a perception check?
Sure, why not?
13.
And perception.
Mine is a 15.
Hey, it's not a 1 anymore, it's an 11. I got two ones.
Got a 5.
As Milo's kind of like talking to you, the other three of you kind of notice that everyone stops talking. Almost like at the same time. And then eventually
Is
Milo
it
kind of like
feeling
chimes
a bit
in once he
ominous?
finishes his sentence.
And Kugel's like, there's always a scientific explanation for... Just like looks around.
And you hear like the distinct sounds of like the clippity cloppity of like footsteps coming from behind you, entering into the tavern. And they're slow, they're well paced, they're not rushed from how you can hear. And as the tavern doors open, this woman enters, and literally everyone in the tavern, all of their eyes are set upon her. And she continues walking towards the group of you now standing between the bar and the exit. Her hair...
And Zashida already is in front of the group.
Her hair is
she-
long and white. Her skin's like immaculately clean. And kind of like glimmers in the shades of light that flicker from some of the lanterns and bits that are positioned around the tavern. And she walks up. Good evening. And
Good evening.
instantly, Milo can recognize her to be Lady St. Cloud. Lady Rona St. Cloud.
My Lady St. Cloud. I was I lose one lord and I find a lady. What are
You know
you?
this woman?
Yeah, she's the one we're actually here looking for. What are
Oh, what
you?
a coincidence.
Yeah, very odd coincidence. Lady St. Cloud, what are you doing here? And more importantly, I guess, why haven't you returned?
And she kind of like looks down to you, not looks down at you, looks in your direction. I'm sorry, have we met before?
Milo's almost like insulted by that.
Milo, it's Milo Shatterstone. You're served the castle for a number of years.
I don't believe I recognize the name. I'm sorry. She like reaches over to her side and pulls out a single letter that's carefully folded and sealed with like a bit of ink, well not ink, wax seal.
Mm-hmm.
And she hands it just like in y'all's knowing direction. I have
And
an invitation for you all.
And
From the
Tsushida
Lord.
kind of takes it cautiously.
An invitation from the Lord of Ravencroft Castle.
Ravencroft Castle.
Does that name ring a bell for me?
No, because I don't think you've ever been to Barovia before now.
No. Ravencroft.
And Tsushida kind of carefully opens up the letter.
And you should be able to see a letter, or in the handouts there should be one that says the invitation. And if you can't read the script, you can go ahead and read the bottom portion for everybody to hear if you're going to read it out loud.
My friends, know that it is I who have brought you to this land, my home, and know that I alone can release you from it. I bid you dine at my castle, so that we may meet in a civilized surroundings. Your passage here will be a safe one. I await your arrival. Your host. And her eyes widen a bit. Strahd von Zarvich.
Isn't this the exact person we were told to avoid? As I look to the group.
It would seem we were not come together by accident.
Oh, well, isn't this just a joy?
And Zashida kind of looks over to Lady St. Cloud. Pardon, madam. Let my lady. But this invitation, did Strahd give it to you himself?
Yes, he instructed that I find you and deliver it most haste.
I see. And do we need to answer this invitation immediately?
The invitation is there. He will be waiting at the castle, should you choose to accept him on his offer.
And if we were to accept this invitation,
Then you will be greeted with open arms.
do you know where exactly this Strahd is? In case we were to accept this invitation, we don't know how to get there.
To the north of this village, there's a single castle that kind of sits off to itself. You'll recognize it almost immediately. That is Castle Ravencroft. That is where he waits.
Ravenclaw.
Oh no, not Claw! I can't.
Strahd is Ravenclaw.
That explains so much.
You were doing so. You were doing so.
I'm sorry, continue.
It is there that you will find him.
And Zashida kind of nods. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Does Zashida notice anything unusual about Lady St. Cloud? Like, maybe perhaps she's being mind controlled?
Make a charisma saving throw.
Oof. 8.
So as you look at Lady St. Cloud to try and like suss her out, her stare like looks at you, and then you get the flash of this image similar to what you saw on your caravan ride there, and also the thing that attacked you in the forest that kind of like puts you back in your current state. And you can kind of sense that something's off, but you don't know, you're like, you can't place it.
And
Is something the
Zashida
matter?
kinda... Zashida immediately looks away. No, it's nothing. I apologize.
It's perfectly fine. Should you accept the invitation, simply burn the letter, and we will know to expect you soon.
Very well.
And she kind of like turns to head out. You get like a whiff of like very exotic and kind of like captivating scents just like swoop at you with like scents of jasmine and other very pleasant kind of like intoxicating scents.
Rise. She's a vampire.
And then she exits the tavern and everything goes back to being as it was. People are talking, chatting, doing their thing.
Quote unquote normal. I turned to Milo and I'm like, you're certain that was the lady you knew?
Yeah, that was her.
And Zashida's kind of... She didn't she looks a bit puzzled, thinking to herself. Something wasn't right. But I can't put my finger on it. I don't think she was herself.
Maybe she spent too long in the fog. Maybe that's what happens to all the people here. I mean, think about it. Everybody in this tavern has been on a loop since we walked in, and then on top of that, the only people that seem to maintain any sense of individuality, or should I say, of their own mind, are the ones who can cross in and out of the fog. Maybe she stayed a little too long once or twice, and now she's nothing more than one of these people following the lines of some other director, not of her own accord, as it were.
Perhaps. I think it's safe to say, this town, this village, is just unusual.
The real question is, do we accept the invitation now?
Not a chance in hell am I going to that place right now. We got one lady saying don't go at them until later, and then they try to show up right now.
That is
Sure.
true. However, she did say if we were to meet him, not provoke him. Perhaps we could have a civilized conversation with him. Find out a bit more. I do understand your concerns.
Yeah, civilized well, we would be met with open arms, I believe is what she said.
It wouldn't hurt to see what he wants. At this point, we truly don't know who to trust, although what motives the old lady has, or what motives this Strahd has.
Well, I hate to be the naysayer in this situation, but nothing about just because we're met with open arms does not mean that, well, that is not going to be hostile.
Guess I'll have to defer to those with more social interactions than me.
I'm rather afraid of what it means by met with open arms.
I can see all of your concerns. However, we don't have any other leads. Yet.
Well, between the invitation and between these little cards that we now seem to all hold, got a few different routes we could take. I'm not going to be one to hold you up, but at the same time, I don't know necessarily splitting up to go and investigate our cards individually is going to be our best bet.
Especially in unknown lands.
And since I now am aware that two fellow paladins and a lord can just be swept away at the blink of an eye and no one seems to know anything, well, I'd hate to be just a forgotten memory to some folk.
Sticking together does seem to be our best bet. Unless one of us is a spy. As he kind of looks around like it was a joke, like, huh. His delivery is very poor.
And Zashida's like, I don't think any of us are spies.
It's like, yes, of course, as he kind of picks up that you guys didn't catch it as a joke.
So, comedy's about timing there, friend, and now ain't the time for that.
Milo kind of pulls out the map of Barovia.
Well, mine was pertaining to a mountain. That's to the dead. That's to the south. Where were your guys' cards pertaining to?
Mine pertain to a lake. There are a few lakes. I'd obviously look at the biggest one first, but if we have a more solid lead, we could probably start with that.
Mine involved a garden and a scarecrow.
Mine involved. Yes.
A Vastante wanderer
Yeah, that.
who's looking for her mentor, who doesn't stay in the same place for long.
Well, we're looking for a garden, of which we have no idea where that could be. One of 3 or 4 lakes, and one of 2 mountain ranges, the largest being in the south.
Oh, also Stacks. I think it also said something about like Saint Marco's Saint something at a lake, or what is that?
Oh, the place that she said?
Yeah.
It is Saint Markovia Abbey. Markovia's Abbey.
Right.
I'm not sure how much help they'd be, but perhaps we could check around town, at least get the name of some locations around here.
Well, we could, Is, God, what, Zan the man?
Stan? Stanimar?
Yeah, Stan, that's what it was. Is he still at the bar?
Yeah.
Let me see if he knows anything about a white tower in a mountain somewhere. Excuse me.
Very well.
I walk up to old Stan. Excuse me, sir. I hate to be a bother.
You're no bother at all, my friend. How can I help?
Yeah, I had a rather eye-opening conversation with Madam Eva.
Yeah, she has that
And,
effect on people.
Yeah. I got a question for you, because, well, she seemed to want to speak in riddles. Do you happen to know of a white tower guarded by golden knights in a mountain range?
Not so much about the Golden Knights portion, but the White Tower could be the Slokin or Sloka Pass. It's a guard tower.
Sloka Pass, you say? And, where would that be at? If you don't mind.
Let's see here.
I hold the map up for him.
Okay. He like rummages through it. Let me just go to chapter 9 and look at where it is. So let's see. Barovia map. Can I find it on here? Let's see. If you were to take this route, and he kind of like points out on the map, there's a bridge and various areas in this region that you can make your way to the Slokin Pass, and then you can find the guard tower not too far off from there.
Right. Where on the map is he actually pointing?
I'm trying to see, because the way that the image is, it just shows, like, obviously, the guard tower.
Is it more towards the south or is it towards the north? Because there's two mountain ranges. There's Mounts Barafok or Baratok, I'm sorry, in the north, and then Mount
Let's see if it's
Gakis, I believe is how you would pronounce that. Ghakis. So you have Mount Gakis in the south that has an X by it, and then you have Mount Baratok in the north that doesn't really look like it has anything on it. I don't know. Just looking at the map that's in the Roll20, there's a little X down by Mount Gakis.
There's an X or an arrow?
I think it's just an X.
Oh, an X, the letter X. Okay.
Yeah, like the letter X. Sorry, the letter X.
For all intents and purposes, this kind of looks like it might be there. We'll say it's over in that X area, X region,
Okay.
and then if not, we'll divvy
just-
it up
yeah,
as it comes.
We'll deal with it. Yeah. Well, much obliged. Just you know roughly how far a walk that is, day's travel that is, from where we're at, just off the top of your head.
You're planning on going there directly?
Well, possibly. Got a few different spots we need to hit, but as far as I'm aware, this is one of the few more concrete areas, not counting any of the other spots around.
Day's travel, I'd give it 4.5, give or take.
About 4.5, 5 days. All right. And is that following the road, or is that just making the direct route to it?
A mixture of both. There'll be some woodland areas you'll have to go through, and then some few mountainous regions, but for the most part, there should be a path that kind of leads you there.
Well, much obliged to you, my good sir. You have yourself a good evening.
Well, thank you. You as well.
And Milo walks away and heads back to the group. I relay all that information, kind of roughly where it's at, and ballpark travel time. I'm not sure exactly where y'all's was, just because, well, more trying to digest what the madam had said to me about mine. So I'm not entirely sure where a garden would be, but then again, he might have some idea of a more famous garden in the area. Otherwise, looks like it's about a 5 days travel to that tower.
And Sashida kind of walks over. May I have that map, please?
Hand it over to her.
And she walks over to Mr. Stanimir.
I'm gonna join her just so that way, like, we're not like, oh, by the way. Oh,
Yeah.
by the way.
by the way, hey, by the way.
Yeah, Mazura's gonna join too. Just get all the questions over with.
My apologies, Stanimir.
Yes.
You have a moment.
Sure.
I noticed Milo asking if you've seen a white tower anywhere near here. And maybe perhaps you can help us look for some other locations as well.
Sure. I am happy to assist.
So Sashida kind of asks him about the garden, the lake, and asking him anything about Saint Markovia.
And also ask him about the castle. See how many castles are around. Obviously, we know of the one, but you know.
Ravenclaw Castle.
Ravencroft.
Ravenclaw.
Oh goodness. Well, you see, the garden is probably referring to the Abbey of Saint Markovia. So those two probably lie together. Being the garden and this person that you're looking for. Let's see. The lake
With the wizard tower.
is probably referring to Van Richten's tower. Rich Tin, like lots of money and the number 10. Van Richten's tower. Which is here, and he like points out as well. But yeah, it would seem that two of your locations are in the same vicinity, and one might not necessarily be close, and then the other one's obviously by the mountains down there.
And I point him like over near Lake Baratuk. I think it shows the tower in the lake in the map. That's the only reason I ask.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that the Barkovia map?
Yes. Barovia, yeah. It's the top
Barovia.
left lake. Lake Baratuk or whatever, and there's like a little island with a little isthmus connecting to the land with like a towery thing on it.
Letter V.
Sure, we'll say that.
Well, we can always update it later.
Yeah.
And then where did he point
He just
to
sends
for
y'all
the
on
garden?
wild goose chases. The Abbey, which is land Barkovia encounters. Where's the reading? That one. Then Saint Abbey. Oh wait, just look at the cards. Two seconds.
One
Is that it?
Mississippi, two Mississippi,
Chapter 8,
three
Area
Mississippi.
S19.
That looks far away.
Hmm.
The Abbey would be in Chris.
Yep, that's far away.
Yep. All right, so that'll be the last stop.
We'll see. The other question I ask is, I'm like, well, obviously
And
the
then-
castles. And then I'm like, what dangers are there around here?
Visitors and passerbyers are noted of lots of wolf activity. There's also mammals such as bats and other creatures that may attack people who are traveling along the roads during the day or night, depending. There's a lot of unsavory factors as well, if you can catch my drift, as far as the types of beings you may encounter.
And Sashida's like, are you referencing to perhaps beings that like blood, considering you told me to bandage my wound?
Well, those, and also others that may help to promote said blood gorging.
See.
There's a undead problem, if you see where I'm going. But some light at the end of the tunnel. You've all met Pablo. He will more than assist where he can of carriage rides to and from areas, which I hope that's what you meant by traveling. Because if you're going by foot, may the gods be with you. Because I wouldn't do it.
And let's say by chance a certain Strahd von Starovich invited us to his castle. Would you suggest that we accept that invitation, or would you suggest we hold off? In theory, of course.
I personally haven't encountered him on a meet-to-meet type setting. However, he does appear here and there and kind of anywhere he wants to from time to time. So, depending on the urgency of the invitation, he might just come to you if you don't take him up on his offer.
Thanks.
Sheeta's already looking concerned.
Can I buy you around, friend? You've given us a lot of good information on the area.
Sure.
And I buy him around.
Thanks.
How much roughly? I have, the standard Star Gold.
Just like 2 copper. It's cheap.
Got it.
Yes, thank you very much for the information.
Anytime, my friends. Hopefully your stay in Barovia is, well met.
Let's pray. Have a good evening.
You all as well.
And Zashida kind of gathers up everyone, and she's just like, well, now that we have some leads regarding to the cards that we have, perhaps we should set off to look for these locations.
Sounds like a plan to me.
It sure sounded like that. If we don't go meet this guy, he'll come and meet us and probably not be happy. Maybe we should go meet Strahd. The castle's not far by the looks of it on the map.
That is my only worry. If we don't accept the invitation, it may provoke him.
Yeah, but I'd rather.
Although, if we go to the castle, and there's a trap waiting for us, well...
Just so the viewers are aware, Paul's trying very hard to play neutral. Because every fiber in his being's like, get the fuck out!
If you guys are against it, we don't have to. I just don't want to seem rude to somebody who is positioning himself as our host. You guys know more about this stuff than I do, of course.
Well, just based on what the individual who I identify as Lady St. Cloud, who I believe is still Lady St. Cloud, somewhere in there, well, the entire bar stopped when she walked in. That doesn't exactly normally happen. I mean, don't get me wrong, there typically men will stop when she walks in, but that's for a completely different reason. This one seemed more of they were willed to do so. So for me, heading that direction seems like, yeah, we could walk into this man's domain, have a lovely conversation, be able to leave on our own accord. But based on the Madame Eva's depiction of him, well, how many other adventurers took him up on that offer?
That is also true. All we know is that whoever tried to escape the fog have not survived. It could be Strahd's doing.
I really truly wonder if we should follow the cards first, then take up his offer for the invitation.
Follow the cards it is, then. That's perfectly fine by me. Just throwing out ideas.
If that's what you wish to do, I shall back you up on it. Although I still have my concerns.
I'm concerned as well, but I think I'm more concerned of if we go invited but unprepared.
And, well, she didn't make it sound like it was a timed invitation. She made it sound like all we must do is light it, and then we would be beckoned. So it kind of seems like we got a little bit of time before we actually need to use it. Now, how much time we have, of course, is the platinum question.
You do have a point. Oh, very well.
It has been a full day. Maybe we should inquire into getting a room and start up in the morning.
Yes, because it seems that it's going to be very dangerous traveling, especially at night.
Now, this might seem a bit forward, but I figured I'll ask it anyway. Based on the last time we got separated from some people, they disappeared. Do we want to just get one room? If you are comfortable with it, of course.
Why wouldn't I be comfortable with it? I mean, I don't particularly need a bed, so...
No offense there, big man. Wasn't really addressed in your general direction. It's more to the ladies in the group.
And I kind of look at you like quizzically, like, but why would this matter?
Let me dial that back one time.
Sure, we can
Typically
find
speaking, women don't like sharing a room with men they don't really know. Some-
And Zashida's like, I don't really mind that much. I trust you enough. If you were to do me any harm, I think you would have done it by now. But I will warn you, if you do try anything, I'm ripping your throat out. Says with a soft smile.
He just grins back at her and gives her a wink. Noted.
I don't think that would do much to me, but noted.
Bezira?
Caesar kind of laughs nervously at the exchanges going on here, and I think, comfort aside, our best option would be to stick together, even if that means sharing a room.
I thought exactly.
Is it bad that I just imagine Mez just like playing with one piece of her hair, just constantly like grabbing it and like pulling it down, just like, yeah, this is fine. This is totally fine.
Oh, bless her heart.
That's what I'm just envisioning. It's like she doesn't know what to do, so she's just like, I'm just gonna play with my hair until we're done.
Yeah, that's pretty much Mazera.
Well, then I guess it's settled. I guess we're going to be getting a room.
Hopefully they have a large one.
I'll go ask the barkeep. So, Zashida walks over and flags down the barkeep,
Yes.
stopping him from washing his glasses. Excuse me, do you have any rooms available for tonight?
Yes.
Preferably one that can house 4 people.
Shouldn't be a problem. We have a room available, actually. For the 4 of you, I imagine? And he, like, looks over to the other 3.
Yes, please.
And he hands you a key. Room
Thank you.
A4.
And how much would it be for taking the room?
He kind of looks at you perplexed. It's already been paid for.
By whom?
And he looks over at the table that Madame Eva was at,
Ah.
but she's not there.
Well, thank you then. And she kind of like gives her a little nod before walking over to the others. I've
And
got
he
the
goes
room.
back to cleaning his glasses.
How much did it set you back?
Well, to be honest, none. It seems Madame Eva paid for our room.
Oh, I'm liking this place less and less the longer we stay here. I won't lie to you.
Agreed.
Did the barmaid ever bring back the bottle of spirits?
Yeah, it's at your bar or at your table.
Is it essentially like their version of bourbon, or like what do we got?
Yeah, like bottom shelf bourbon.
Bourbon's bourbon. At this point, bourbon's bourbon.
Oh my gosh.
I grabbed the bottle and, well, lead the way.
And Sheeta kind of heads off, kind of looking at the room number on the key as they're walking by the rooms before finding the room, and then picking the key, unlocking the door, and opening it.
The room looks nothing too suspicious. There's 4 beds, even though maybe only 3 of them are going to get occupied. Yep, beds are neatly made. There's not really any cobwebs or anything, so it makes it seem like...
Any windows?
There is a single window, yes.
So Sheeta's making sure it's locked.
Yes, it's locked.
Are there curtains as well?
No curtains.
Oof.
As the last person walks in, Klugel kind of takes like his screwdriver and kind of like taps the doorknob a couple times and then like closes the door.
Klugel, what were you doing?
Just leaving a message.
A message?
Yeah,
For whom, if you don't mind me asking?
for whoever would come in. Just a message that we're, sleeping.
Right.
I see. Thank you, Klugel.
Welcome. Like he's used to doing this no matter what, anyways. And then I start transcribing some of the stuff that I've been putting on the back of my shield. It kind of like glows like a red onto an actual paper. That way I can, remove it.
Milo begins kind of setting up. He just kind of takes one of the beds in the corner, kind of puts his shield down, and then essentially like de-armors down to just like his traveler's clothes, I guess.
Oh, doffing off to just regular old skivvies.
Well, not down to skivvies, but de-armoring. So he's still wearing regular clothes, but he's not sleeping in his armor.
Yeah.
Ashita kind of walks over to her bed, and the others kind of notice her kind of like placing both her hands on the bed, kind of like testing it out. She's kind of looking at it a little bit like curiously almost.
Something the matter, Zashida?
My apologies. I don't normally sleep on beds like this.
Well, these ain't exactly the cream of the crop, but at the same time, these are better than sleeping on some rocks.
Actually, I prefer to sleep on rocks.
Well, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised by that. Let me see.
Cool.
Do I actually have that spell?
Oh no, I almost took that spell. I almost took a spell to like control Earth and be like, here you go.
Klugel's like, you want to throw some bolts on there for you and make you feel more at home. As he's like scrawling down on the parchment.
No, it's quite all right. I'll make do. And she kind of like braces herself, and her form starts to change. She starts her skin rapidly turns to fur, and she transforms into a wolf.
You were so excited for this. I could hear it in your voice. You were so excited. You were like, I'm gonna do this.
Dragons!
We can finally do this! I've been waiting to do this all day!
And once she transforms, she kind of like shakes out her fur, and then kind of curls up right at the front of the bed rather than on the bed. And then she kind of lets out a huff.
So Klugel at first doesn't notice this, and then he looks up and sees her transforming, and it's like pulls out a new paper and just starts taking notes. He's just like, "Oh, wait a minute."
Milo looks at her. Once again, just kind of gives a little, like, a grin and a shake of his head, and uncorks the bottle, takes the whiff, and then proceeds to take a sip.
Sashida kind of lets out a little, like a hackle almost, like a chuckle, responding to Milo's response.
Yeah, I got nothing.
And Mazera just makes herself as comfortable as she can on her bed and tries to go to sleep.
And
After,
sorry.
I was just saying, after about 15 minutes of done, noting and whatnot, I just kind of pack up everything into my backpack, and then I go sit on my bed and kind of just stare at the wall.
So who's all going to sleep?
Let me.
I'm
post this.
gonna take first watch.
But I go into an inactive state where I still sense everything around me, and obviously if something brings me out of this state, then I don't get my full rest. But I am completely aware while resting for 6 hours.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's that.
I will take watch after Milo.
Okay. Zashida and Mazera, can I have you both make a Constitution saving throw?
Oh my god. 3.
Oof.
And I had a +2 for that too.
6.
Okay. So as you two are sleeping, I don't really have any creepy music, or do I? You might have to turn him down if he's too loud. So as you two are resting, you find yourselves kind of in this interconnected dream state where Zashida, when you look to your right, you can see Mezera, and then vice versa when she looks over to her left.
The music is too loud, I can't hear you.
Oh! I'm booting him! Okay.
I was gonna say, if you right click him in Discord, you can bring his volume down.
I'll just play the regular music. But yeah, basically you both are in each other's dreams, and your surroundings are like pitch black, nothing but black.
Is Zashida still in her wolf form, or is she humanoid?
We'll say she's in her wolf form.
Can I smell anything? Can I hear anything?
Not from what you are gathering.
Okay.
Like, you can smell that Mezera's close to you, if that's any consolation.
So I kind of just trot over to her with a small whine. Like a whimper, almost.
Mazera's just looking around, kind of confused.
I have sent you an invitation.
Sheeta starts growling.
And in front of you, you can see, like, this bloody swarm of bats just starting to manifest this humanoid visage of Strahd. And then the bats, like, wisp away and he stands there. It would be unwise to keep me waiting.
how long do we have to accept this invitation?
I will give you until the sun sets tomorrow eve.
Oof.
If I have not heard back from you by then, I will take it for what it is.
Can he understand me in my wolf form?
You could try.
Boy. Okay. So, in response, Zashida kind of lets out a slight snarl. And take what for what it is? What would you think if we didn't accept your offer?
The game will be played regardless of if you willingly want to play it or if I must drag you to cooperate. The choice is yours.
And this game, what is it?
That, my dear, can be explained with the invitation that I have given you. Should you attend, I will do my best to answer all of your questions. Should you not, I will take it in kind.
So I assume we receive help if we are willing, and we are left in the dark if we are not.
The sink or swim. Except one you're being taught. So yes. And also partly no. As there's some secrets that must be kept. At any cost.
And Zashida kind of growls a bit in response. He wasn't too thrilled with that answer. Is that all you came to tell us, then?
That and to be wary of one of you. I won't say who. But that is all.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Baser is just trying to absorb everything that's been said. So she's quietly just taking in everything.
And almost to a point, he vanishes into the darkness, the bats kind of wisping him away again. And the two of you wake up at exactly the same moment.
Zashida wakes up in a snarl.
Milo notices this, like both of them both snapping awake at the same time. Like
We have
hammer in one hand, bottle in the other, just like what the fuck's going on?
have trouble.
What do you mean?
Zashida turns back. I think we were contacted by Strahd in our dreams.
And he says we have until sundown tomorrow to accept his invitation. It seems there's a game at play here, and we'll receive some form of help if we accept the invitation willingly. And no help at all if we refuse the invitation. But either way, we will be pursued.
You don't say. Well, I guess that
Milo's
changes
internally
things.
freaking out.
I guess that changes things then, doesn't it?
It seems we have no choice but to accept his invitation. Otherwise, it's gonna make it a bit more problematic.
Yeah, I'm just more thinking of who, or more importantly, what can enter somebody's dreams like that.
There's another problem. You said we must be wary of one of us. Which means it's going to be hard for us to trust each other.
Just for reference, Klugel has not moved an inch at this point. He's still sitting on the bed staring at the wall.
Zashida shakes her head. I'm not gonna let this statement dwindle. I have faith in all of you. For now.
Yeah, I'm not exactly one to take the words of, well, hell, I wasn't even there, but a lord who can enter your dreams does not exactly sound like somebody who may or may not be the most truthful of individuals.
I don't believe anyone here would do anything wrong of their own accord, but it has me concerned that perhaps one of us may be manipulated in the future.
Then we best keep our wits about us.
Yeah, we probably should.
I set the hammer back down next to the bed, like kind of prop myself back up, like the bottle.
Anybody? Nah, you both don't drink. Never mind. As I was.
I take a long swig and then kind of begin to very cautiously refill my flask.
Well, it seems we should get as much rest as we can. I don't think anything is going to attack us tonight.
Well,
Especially if Strahd is in control.
I think I may stay awake the rest of the evening.
If that is what you wish. However, if you do get tired, wake me up. I'll take your place.
I will wake you.
Or
Rest.
toss something over there at the old Iron Giant. Something about that. They don't necessarily need as much sleep as the rest of us. Ain't that right, buddy?
Absolutely no noise comes out.
You think he's truly aware of his surroundings?
Well, I've known a Warforged once upon a time, and according to him, or I'm sorry, according to them, it was like being awake at all times, even when you didn't want to be. So, unless this one's built different, which is always a possibility, I think they're just being, well, kind to try to appear like they're not listening. Regardless, I think this is things I need to turn in. Kill more to look over us.
Get some rest,
And-
Milo.
Milo lays down and clocks out almost immediately.
Mazer ends up staying up most of the night praying.
Depending on when Mazer does get up, obviously after almost 6 hours on the dot, Klugel does get up and starts quietly, of course, tinkering at if there's a little desk in there, or if not, on the floor. Just kind of, checking out what parts he has, seeing what he needs, kind of taking inventory of what he's got, checking his notes, trying to contemplate how that thing was flying and how she turned into a wolf.
I just imagine you just very, like at the start, like moving things around and being like, oh, wait, there's people. Ting, ting,
Yeah.
ting, ting.
Quiet tinking.
And Zashida went back to sleep.
Yeah, she turned back into a wolf and went to sleep
Okay.
on the floor.
So our heroes on their first night in Barovia have come across many unsettling things. But as the night grows darker and things finally, hopefully, settle down a bit more, we're going to call this first chapter to a close.
Yay!
And we will pick it back up in 2 weeks, where we continue down the Curse of Strahd and see how dark and spooky this rabbit hole goes. But yes.
Oh boy.
Ha! Have a good time.
So far, so not dead.
I mean, nothing terrible's happened, minus losing a lord.
He's not. They always lost.
We only lost an extra thing we have to find now. No big deal.
Nah, he
You
did.
have to find
But we found something that we thought we lost. So, all in all,
friendship. No.
And then immediately lost it again. But yeah, should our heroes decide, well, I should say adventurers for right now. We haven't decided if any of them are heroes. Should our adventurers decide to take Strahd up on his invitation or continue about their own accord as they were going to do regardless, we will find out next episode. But thank you everyone for stopping by, and if you haven't, make sure you tune in this Friday when we continue episode 2 of Waterdeep Dragon Heist, as our heroes there find a missing person with Volo's assistance, and hopefully not die, because dying is bad. We don't like it. But yes, tune in next time, and catch you all on the flip side. See you later. Where's my ending thing? Oh my gosh, there it is.
You'll never get rid of us.
What of us? What of us?